I think it's a gamble, and only the middle people benefit. I mean, including those that producing, they have emission. And so, in one of my recommendations at one meeting, I said, if community should benefit, then it should be the community versus the bigger company, no middleman, and there should be sufficient education provided for community. But honestly, only middle people who negotiate are the beneficiary of the large quantity of funds that come with
The real issue around carbon for me is scary. And I think as a country, we need to really think deeper, as other colleagues have said, and maybe slow the process down, which civil society has the power to do so. Because when you think about this whole carbon market, is what comes to mind, I start to think about unequal power relation. The people who are causing harm, in a world climate crisis, have refused over time to take actions, and they know there are actions that they should take within their range to help mitigate the crisis. But they are not doing that, and they are now, putting pressure on developing countries to do that, and which is unfair. And we should not just, embrace it and start to put a pressure on ourselves to start to think about creating laws and policies, and because we do not have the capacity to really address that in a space of time, and they are coming. So it's another neo-colonialism that they are bringing, and just to make us, just to continue controlling us as Africans. So I would suppose stewardship. Our forest is already here, and we have been protecting it over time. So why it's here and they are already benefiting without giving anything? So why don't we go to stewardship and advocate and push for them to start to pay for the carbon, in fact the damages and the deposit that is already there, instead of pressuring ourselves to develop carbon law and going to market without clear understanding of it. So I will push for stewardship.
If we all want to address the causes of climate change, it means that we all should reduce our emission. That's the baseline. If you are not reducing your emission, you are emitting and going business as usual and developing, and then we that are poor, you come to us to stop emitting or reducing our emission, you are shifting the responsibility issue. Who is responsible for reducing emission? Or who is responsible for reducing or cutting the emission ambitiously are those who are polluting. Another thing is the issue of the double counting. How do we count for the emission? If this company is emitting, then who gets the credit? Right? If I'm saving a forest, is this the forest I'm saving, the reduction in CO2, is it counted for me in my NDC, or is counted for that company or the buyer? So we have to be very careful the issue of double counting and also the issue of historical responsibility. Thank you.
Again, I have two questions here. One, and it is possible to correctly calculate the carbon, the tree offsets. It is possible to correctly calculate the carbon that is being offset by a particular tree. Number two, why are industry so reluctant to directly stop pollution than through offsetting mechanism? Thank you.
So, as for me, I'm an activist, and I see this whole blue carbon deal as more of a risk than an opportunity. So my question is this: what are some techniques or mechanisms that can be put in place that the local communities, the indigenous communities, will benefit more than the fossil fuel companies or the blue carbon companies?
I think what we need more as activists, advocates, civil society actors is to continue to monitor the process or the processes involved in the development of this policy. Because what we're realizing is that the government also, they want to do the policy in line with the law. So as civil society actor, we've said, and we were very intentional to say that the policy should be developed first before developing the law, because the policy will serve as a guide in the development of the law, because you have to have consultation around the policy developed so that you have more people agreeing to the terms and conditions, because the entire question around here is who owns carbon. Even though we have a Land Rights Act law that gives exclusive right to the customary land rights of communities, but we think that government wants to use eminent domain to capture the process in terms of elite capturing. So I think we need more legal analysis, and I think we have to top up our gains in terms of monitoring the processes, and we ourselves as civil society actors being very transparent and accountable to the process. I just wanted to say that.
Fossil fuel companies, they are getting rich from extracting this fossil fuels. They would much rather pay a small amount.
Madam Chair, you said it right. There are a lot of legal instruments on the book that sooner or later will be running to the Supreme Court for interpretation. And in our quest to ensure we understand fully the issue around government's interest in a carbon discussion is to do a review of all of the existing legal instruments. I was in one community forest 3 weeks ago in Lofa, BA, they call it town Bremer, it's in the Bremer clan, and the issue of the land rights, who owns the forest, who owns the land, who owns the resources, giving all of the forest law of 2009, the Land Rights Act, and all of those instruments is now coming into contention gradually. So I think that we need to take a sober reflection of that and bring to the table review of the law so that we don't they don't come in conflict with each other. Thank you.
Then I started to think about the event that is taking place in Senegal. Then I became worried. More worried to the extent that the government of the day has already initiated, has already targeted itself to go into climate things. So no matter what happens, I think there's 100% assurance to go into climate carbon market. Judging from the fact that the executive director of EPA told the regional body that the EPA has been tasked to raise portion of the $8.4 or $0.6 billion of the arrest budget. It puts us, civil society actors, to put our hands together. In the sense, like some of the things that Loretta made mention of, the issue of community-led governance. How do we ensure that structures are put in place at community level in line with the Land Rights Act, so these structures have the capacity to lead on these activities that the government is already taking steps to introduce. The concern is, from my judgment, is they're not concerned whether the country as a whole has the knowledge, whether they are prepared people in the country at community level, at national level, to lead on these events, but rather they want to raise the budget, the $8.4 billion.
From the community discussing what they think about the entire carbon issue. And that brings me to the issue about the whole carbon market thing. We need to look at it deeper because there's so much around it. All of us the blue carbon deal that came up earlier, I think a year ago, and civil society were able to step up. All of us know that government is always looking for money, and always looking to see where it can have easy cash. So now that there is an opportunity to get money through the carbon market issue, they will always want the easier way. So we need to see how we can think deeper, do more research around the entire carbon market issue, to look at it from a standpoint of what do future generations stand to benefit. You heard the community people speaking in those videos, talking about they've lived on the forest for so many years, they don't know anything else, they have no other expertise or skill set. If you are coming with such a deal, what do they stand to benefit? Not just them, their generations after them. But I think we need to look at a legal framework, financial framework, and mechanism, and all of those things surrounding the entire carbon market. But also there needs to be a collective advocacy effort of all CSOs surrounding the entire carbon market issue. Because without us pushing against the government, the communities tend to benefit nothing. Because once the government get involved, the community is not going to benefit anything substantial, and it will be to their own detriment. So I think CSO need. Excuse me?
Just easy about government and you make them better.
Yeah, you can disagree with me, but I think we need to work together collectively as CSOs to understand the whole issue surrounding the carbon market, look deeper into this issue, and see how we can work with the different communities. Thank you very much.
Sister Renee, who just really spoke about, some of the things I wanted to say. We are being pressured into this. Firstly, how many people in Liberia have degrees in calculating carbon? How prepared are we? How knowledgeable are we? It's like getting into something that we are not going to benefit. And I'm so happy for the work that Action Aid is doing. When I listen to the community, they speaking the benefit that they get from the forest, how they depend on the forest. This is their life, this is our life. So,
now, you have to understand that this whole thing about the carbon credit is a false solution. Some of us from the CSO bank have been climate advocates for a very long time. We have been saying that this is not the right procedure. And I stand for this, that this is not the right procedure. Whatever regulatory process framework, the first thing you should understand that Liberia don't even have a defined climate change act by legislation. How now, if you go outside to look at policy, we have climate change response policy now, we have NDC and other wetland act of which of scope that are not even fully implemented. Now because you want to put in a position to gain resources, especially money, and now you are coming up with a policy to say you want to have carbon credit, is actually against the rights of the locals. Not just with the locals, it's actually against our forests, our traditions.
So I told him that we need to sit, wait, and study the market for maybe a period of 4 or 5 years. We even get into it. Or somebody said, oh, this is a good market, and I think they have our tradition. Somebody from one chief, one woman, at least one of those countries were in. Oh, I'll go to my people that plenty money coming, the other thing, and she doesn't fully understand what we're doing discussing. She doesn't know what we're discussing. And I told her that this is wrong, either long term, it might even lead to civil unrest.
Ivory Coast. How Ivory Coast, cocoa is one that deforested Ivory Coast. And I said no. When I wanted to talk again, they didn't give me the mic. I know that during colonial times, the French people, the British people were cutting down all the wood in Africa and shipping it. So they're the one who started the whole process, like she said. But the key for me, as I said before, I don't know much about carbon credit. I don't understand it. And if I don't understand it, it means a lot of people don't understand it. So I think one of the work for
the CSO, is to educate and disseminate information so that the public will know what we are talking about.